So there was this. Was it really when Dad decided to go into hospice? Um, was it? Is my memory right? Was it like less than 2 weeks? Was it 10?
Yeah,
I
less
keep
than
telling
2
people
weeks.
it was 10 days. But
It was 10 days or 2 weeks. It was less than 2 weeks.
okay. And it was a very conscious and thoughtful decision, and you were obviously a part of that. You had seen Dad progressively not feeling good and sleeping more and more, and
He was in bed most of the day, which if he would felt good, that would, wouldn't have been. But I think, again, we both thought, we didn't think that was going to be 2 weeks. I'm sure he didn't either,
it was just all that stuff. Truly, that's modern medicine, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
He wouldn't have been around for the last 10 years,
yeah. Well,
right?
well, at least those last 3 years, I would say, were pretty rugged. Never felt good, and breathing, he was on oxygen all the time. Remember, he had that deal where he just was on all the time, all over the house, no matter where he went.
Yeah.
And he everything on your body kind of starts when you get really sick, not functioning right.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't, he was having a rough time.
Yeah.
He was tired of it. He was just, and
you, in the meantime, it wasn't, I mean, yes, less than 2 weeks is much faster than you thought, but you had a number of years where you knew that his condition was such that he wasn't going to live a lot more that many more years, right?
Yeah.
So you had in some lot of ways prepared yourself.
Mentally prepared, but it seems like you still are not quite, you're never quite ready. You don't know you don't know what you don't know. You don't know how it's going to be, and until they're gone. But we both knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it,
And what were the most essential things that came out of those conversations?
Not any big plans. I know he was concerned. Well, how was I going to manage things? Because he still made all the decisions as far as the farmland and things like that. He made those decisions, and so he was concerned. What am I going to do? Because I don't know a lot of that stuff that you would need to know to manage it. And so I just told him I would ask the kids. They would help me. And he seemed to be satisfied with that. He was satisfied with that, and I didn't want him to think I was going to go get some farm manager or expensive lawyer or something. We didn't need that,
And you guys had done some important things to shore things up so that he also knew that unless you made a whole bunch of dumb decisions, which here again, I think you probably were more capable than you thought you were of even making a lot of those, because you were right there when you were there for all of it. I'm sure you just weren't used to making them, but it doesn't mean that you didn't have most of the information that would have been necessary to make them.
Right.
And you were shored up. He knew that you weren't going to be eating, stewed tomatoes out of a can.
Oh, yeah. He knew I'd be all right.
That would have been very comforting to him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, yeah.
Easier for him to just say, okay, yeah, I'm ready to go. This is miserable. And I love my kids, but I've got these wonderful grandchildren, these wonderful relationships, and he's deeply spiritual in the meantime, right? you guys were progressively more and more,
I think so.
um, weren't you more and more into that?
Oh,
Into
yeah, uh-huh.
observing your faith?
Yeah, yes, uh-huh, uh-huh. Seems like, we had more time for that. Not that we didn't always have had, both of us had strong faith, but when you have more time later on in life, you can concentrate, a little bit more, and that's great.
Yeah. So then Dad passed October 15th, 2006, and then that was the beginning for you in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see it that way?
Yeah. I do. It's a point where you definitely have to own your own decisions. You've nobody to blame. What we did couldn't have been his fault. Any decisions, they were mine. Which is, good for a person, I guess, in the long run. But I made a couple of silly ones. I'm sure you remember the two motorhomes and a trailer. A trailer that I wasn't able to pull myself. And then one that was in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. We had to go get, remember?
Tony, don't ever do this again.
Don't ever do this again. He said it with all kindness, but he just said, don't ever do this again.
Wasn't there an expletive in there too? Was there?
No.
There wasn't a swear. But there was a finger being pointed.
But there was a finger
was some
being pointed.
firmness.
But he dropped everything. He said, you fly to Boston and I'll drive to Boston and I'll meet you there. And he was there at the airport to meet me.
To support you.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't part of the decision.
No. I can
He was
remember.
like, if you're going to haul this thing, somebody's got to go help you.
I did it, on eBay, and I did it probably late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. And I can remember when I got to church that morning, I was beside myself. Nobody knew but me what I had done.
But by then the money was out of your account, and
Oh, sure.
it was, so you own that thing.
I owned it.
And that was after the motorhome or before?
No, the motorhomes were later, and I really, really loved that little motorhome. But the first one was in the flood of '08, and that we had here, and it was parked out to Joe and Darlene's, and it was the water came up over the motor, so it was completely totaled. I found another one just exactly like it, only a year newer, and it was up north of Minneapolis, and Ed took me up to get that in the driving rain. So bad that even he could, hardly stay on the road. But those were great. And I sold the second one for my asking price. So that those weren't a bad deal. It was just that it was a little too much to be doing on my own.
Yeah. What was the concept?
No, just go. I went and visited Dick and Marvel in Texas, and
Were you thinking that might be
that kind of thing? I would
what
go.
you would-
I
you
just
would
felt
do
like
that?
I want to be. I don't want to be dependent on anyone. Never mind. I'm always asking somebody to think with me, or, But I really felt strongly that I didn't want to, like, people to think they had to take me somewhere. I don't know why, but I didn't want that, and I haven't had it. But it'll come, I'm sure. And so I wanted to be, decide when I did something and where, and run my own ship.
Yeah. Made perfect sense.
Mhm.
Made great sense. In figuring out how to do that.
Yeah, that was a
obviously
little
that's
rough,
journey,
a little
that's
bit rocky
journey,
there
yeah.
for the first.
Who knows? And
Yeah.
how could you know you were? Your life was all of a sudden really
Yeah.
very had changed a lot. So would you say that you've been able to find that? What you were looking for?
Oh, yeah.
What did you arrive at in terms of a formula that worked for you? And I mean, I see the physical side of it.
Yeah.
And you live here now. You're thinking of maybe doing something else.
Well, I don't know. I still feel that way. But what's really nice that I don't know that everybody has when I talk to other people who are older is that all of you guys respect my opinion when I do something and don't say, oh, you shouldn't do that, or, you know, what are you thinking of? And I just appreciate that because I still feel that way. I want to do all I can for myself, you know.
Yeah. Some of the things I have seen you doing, let's say since Dad passed, are, I mean, you've always been very curious and have always active mind, but you've indulged that curiosity even further. You know, you've read a lot of the greats. You know, I think you're still doing that. Maybe not as much as you were.
I'm still reading, but not anything. I'm not reading anything great right now.
Okay.
Or I haven't for a
the
while.
classics rather.
Yeah.
You've been free to travel, and you have done that. You've made decisions about the house, right? About where you live, and you've created this wonderful space here. What are some of the other things that you've done that have been kind of your creation in the
Well,
last
I bought the place in Florida.
14 years, right? 12 years.
12 years in
12
October.
years in October.
In
yeah.
October, yeah.
You got the
place in Florida. And I think I don't know that I was there 3 or 4 years, winters, you know. But that was another thing. Been there and done that. I really didn't want to be that far away. They were nice people, you know. It was fun, but it's. I'm glad I sold it. You know, it's not. That's not for me. So I've uncovered a few things that looked good that everybody else was doing that I really don't care to do anyway.
Yeah, it came clear to you. It seemed like, well, even before the last year that you went, but then even during the last year, you even cut it short, didn't you? You're like, you know what? I'm gonna go try this one more time, just for good measure. Probably not, but I'm gonna still do my due diligence. And then you just did it, and then you came back, and that wasn't your formula.
Yeah, that wasn't my formula. Is right.
So,
but I'm glad I did it. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
You know, nice to see it and know what they do down there. And
yeah.
well, I don't know what else. Just this year learning to play bridge. So that was something I wanted to do.
You've done a lot of crafts and stuff.
Learned to make jewelry. I made quite a bit. I still have quite a bit. I think I'll get back to that.
Yeah. More eBay.
A little more eBay. I sold a bunch of toys for a guy. Collector toys that he had bought and he won.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And above all, the thing that was always there from the time you became a mother was family, and that is all still growing and thriving. And you're the first person people think about, and you always, you know, this isn't fair for me to say this, but you always pick up the phone to saddle you with that expectation. Even just 2 months ago, you drove all the way out to Chicago to spend time with me. So your life, it seems like you have an incredibly rich, full life. What would you say is kind of your picture for yourself at this point, how you want to continue to live your life? Do you think about that, or are you just continuing to? And maybe it's best the way you, I think, do it is just to let it unfold, kind of.
Just kind of let it unfold. I'm just pretty dang thankful right now. You know, I'm just thankful that I feel good. A lot of my friends maybe don't, and relatives don't. You know, I mean, just able to feel good and be on my own. I really value that, but I know that isn't forever, and so I just hope I can be what I need to be when the other comes.
Well, I think you're one that could be a centenarian, though.
No, I don't
you
think so.
See, I think
I don't have that in my genes.
I don't have it. I have no idea what that means. I just look at you
Yeah.
and how vital you are,
Yeah.
and you're even more vital than you were just a few months ago.
Yeah.
That decision, was there a discernment that went into that, or was it just kind of a no-brainer?
You mean the surgeries?
Yeah.
No, that was just it was too
This sucks.
bad.
This hurts.
It was too bad. I couldn't have kept going like that and walked.
Yeah.
So no, I'm
So you have two
going
new
through a really
hips.
thankful time.
Are you?
Yes.
A lot of it just you not only do you have all this wonderful stuff in your life, but you physically feel
Feel good.
good.
Yes.
You're not distracted by pain, like constant chronic pain.
No.
It is. It's a miracle.
It
isn't it?
is. It's good. It's very good.
So maybe we'll